You're listening to Your Highest Self podcast, episode 28. How do you live a more intentional life? Welcome back to the show. If you guys are new, welcome. My name is Shanae. I'm a retired WBFF bikini pro, and in this show, I provide you holistic solutions for your nutrition, fitness, and mindset to help you on your journey towards your highest self. And if you have been hanging out with me for a while, welcome back. So exciting. Today's episode came about because I was actually interviewed on another podcast a few weeks ago, and she asked me, what is the first step in pursuing a more intentional life and knowing who you are? And I thought it was such a great question. And it's also the first thing I teach my clients, which is core values. So when I have a new client, the very first thing we do is identify what their values are and then why their values are important. When you know what your values are, you're able to live a more intentional life. We talked about core values briefly on another episode, and I honestly tried to go look for it and I couldn't. And I said, oh, I promise we do a full episode on them. So here we are. If you know what episode I'm talking about, email me and I'm going to send you something special. So anyhow, in today's episode, I'm going to walk you through what are core values, help you define what your core values are, and then teach you how to integrate them into your life for intentional living. This is just a snapshot, quick view of core values, and I want to invite you to my core values workshop, which is going to be this Friday, January 17th at 5 p.m. PST. So if you listened to last week's episode, I talked about it. What we're going to do in this workshop is we're going to brainstorm your values, identify why they're important to you so that you can start to align your life with them. So when we are done with this amazing workshop, and it's held online via Zoom, so you can join from anywhere in the world, granted that the time works for you, or you can still sign up and watch the replay. When you walk away, you're going to know more of who you are and what's important to you so that you can start taking more aligned action this year. Don't just work hard for the sake of working hard. Work hard towards the things that you know are important to you. So let's get into it. Core values, what they are is they are a set of virtues that you decide to live your life by. I call them a moral compass. So, one thing to know is that as humans, like, we do evolve, we change, we grow, we learn new things. So as we evolve, the way that we align with our values are also going to evolve. So your value might actually change, or just the way that you perceive this value is going to change. So don't feel like you're stuck with these values like for a lifetime. Like, they can evolve and change as you evolve. Most recently, I let go of my value of excellence because I realized that when I lived by that value, which excellence means not doing things not perfectly, but like doing things really, really well and always trying to beat my former self. I realized that that value actually made me so much harder on myself and put so much pressure on myself for a lot of things. So I let that value go because it no longer was in alignment with who I was trying to become. It was a really great value for when I was competing and was always pushing myself towards new goals. But now that I'm older and I'm not competing and my goals are so much different, having excellence as a value is actually holding me back because it wasn't allowing me to pursue different things, if that makes sense. So anyhow, when you articulate what your values are, you actually have a better sense of who you are and what you stand for. And when you know who you are and what you stand for, this helps guide you in making decisions in your life, as well as being the fuel for the energy and passion in your life. So let me explain. When you know what your values are, you have more energy to achieve the goals that you want, and you have more passion for them because you realize why those goals are important to you. So for instance, you want to be in shape. That is a really generic goal. Everyone has a goal of being healthy, right? But why is that important to you? when you can align your values with your fitness goals, which is like what I did as a personal trainer. This is how I got all my clients' results. When you can align your values with your fitness goals, it no longer becomes about getting a six pack or looking externally healthy or in shape. It became about the intrinsic motivation that you derive from linking it to your values. So say one of your values is a really I don't know, I'm having a brain fart. Say one of your values is like family. Like you really value your family, you love family time, you would do anything for your kids or for your parents or your brothers or your sisters or whatever. When you start to link the value of family with your fitness goals, you start to realize why being in shape is important to you. It's most likely important to you so that you can live longer, so that you can age gracefully, so you can keep up with your kids, so you can be a role model for your parents. So when you attach that value of family to your goal, there is a deeper well of passion and energy to achieve it. It's no longer just about being in shape. There is a much deeper connection to the feeling of why it's important to you. So that's the why of core values. And that's why I think it's so important to know what they are. If you've been living a life that's just kind of fluffy and on the surface and you don't really feel like you're working towards anything, you most likely don't know what your values are. And just by simply knowing what they are, it's going to like, boom, open up so much energy and passion for you. So basically, to define them, they're mostly defined by what's important to you and the qualities that make you live your best life. So my core values are kindness, honesty / integrity, kind of the same, kind of not, depending on how you look at it. Always be learning, purpose, and authenticity. So for me, authenticity means being the fullest expression of myself. When I am living in alignment with these values, when my business is in alignment with these values, I'm my best self. I am my highest self. I don't hold myself back due to fear or FOMO. I am not overly emotional and letting my emotions take over, which you guys, I can be very emotional and very moody. When I am living in alignment with my value of always be learning, that's when I switched from excellence. I am always learning. I'm always looking for opportunities to learn. I'm looking for how life is happening for me, not how life is happening to me. So that is how you define them. I have a whole worksheet that I go through on different questions to ask yourself. So again, if you want to know what yours are, join me in the workshop on Friday so we can go through this with you. Last but not least, how can you integrate them in daily for intentional living? So like I said, when you know what your values are, you have a deeper well, like imagine like a water well for energy and passion in your life. I read this book many, many years ago. It was called Life with Full Engagement. Oh my goodness, I'm butchering it. When I figure it out, it'll be down in the show notes. Life purpose with full engagement, live with full engagement. Oh my goodness, why can't I remember? But anyways, they talked about core values in that book. And that book is about how to be a better like person, but from a business perspective, like how to be a better employee, how to be a better person. And what they realized is that the different activities that full-time athletes do, we should be doing as well, because as like an employee or a boss or a CEO, like you are on the go all the freaking time. So how can we create a better sense of balance for you? How can we have you be the most energized so that you can show up to work and fulfill your best? The title of the book is escaping me and it's making me so angry. I need to figure out what the title is. If you are seeing me on video, I am looking around my office. Oh, I found it. The Power of Full Engagement. That's what it's called. It's right over there. Okay, so read that book. They gave an example of how I think it was like it was either a law firm or like an accounting company. 75%, and I'm butchering the story, this is like from memory, a large portion of their employees passed away in the 9/11 attack. And the firm was about to go down, but the rest of the employees that survived that were not at the office that day use their value of, I think it was like family, for their company, and the remaining employees were able to pull the firm out of like a deficit, right? Like they were able to recuperate all their losses and get the firm up and running again on all that less manpower, so that they can take that extra revenue that they made and contribute it towards the families of the victims. And so they wouldn't have had that energy and passion to be able to work those long hours and make that happen if they didn't have that deep connection to why it was important to them. And it was one of their business values. So ever since I heard that story, I was like, oh, that's so powerful. I've also used it for my clients. I used to work in a corporate gym. It was called Equinox, and I worked with a lot of CEOs and, VC partners and people who were working at a really high capacity as far as business goes. And they could make $1 billion, but they could not get in shape, and they could not stay motivated to stay in shape or to stay committed towards their fitness goals. So I started to use their values that they would do in business. It's like, okay, like how did you get from, a college student to where you are now? How do you make partner at this firm? What are the qualities and the attributes that got you there? And a lot of it was like, well, it was like discipline and honesty and like never giving up and resilience and perseverance and persistence. And a lot of their values, those were their values. So then what I did was like, okay, well, how can you take that value and apply it to your fitness goals? When you are, feeling really lazy and you don't want to come into the gym and do your 20 minutes of cardio, how can you tap into that value of persistence and perseverance that got you to be, partner at this firm, and use that towards your fitness goals for yourself? So when they started to live in alignment with their core values, and not just in work but all their like personal goals, they started to make it happen for themselves. So being in alignment with your values means that what you do, what you say, and how you help others is all encompassed. So you can't be in alignment with your values if you're telling someone else to be persistent but you're not persistent yourself. So that is being out of alignment. um, your values are your values until you put them in action. When they're put in action, they become your virtues. Okay, that's really, really, I think, so powerful to know. And then the last tip on how to integrate them for intentional living is daily ask yourself, how can I be more blank today? So we'll take my values for example. How can I be more kind today? How can I be more honest today? How can I learn something today? How can I be more purposeful today? How can I be more authentic today? And there is always room for improvement. I can always find a way to be more kind to others and mostly to myself. I can always find a way to be more authentic. So, not filtering myself, not saying something because I'm afraid of how others are going to perceive me, or if I'm going to hurt someone's feelings. And the learning, it's like, how can I learn from someone else today? So, one of my best memories is when I do this in the car. So on Wednesdays and Fridays, I have a long-ish commute to the gym that I train my private clients at. It's like 40 minutes. There's tons of traffic here in the Bay. And so one of the things that I do in the car is I set my intention. And when I'm setting my intentions, they're always in alignment with my values. So I always pick one. And there's one particular day that I was feeling really moody. I can be really moody. And I was like, all right, so like, how can I be more kind today? That was my intention, my value. It's like, how can I be more kind today? How can I bring kindness to my clients? How can I be kindness to a stranger? How can I just be more kind? And lo and behold, the universe responds. And I was having lunch at Whole Foods, sitting outside on my laptop, writing my newsletter. And this older woman comes by, and you could just tell she was lonely. And I think that if I had been in a different headspace that day, I would have just put my head down and like continued to work. But because I had set my intentions that day and I said, I want to be more kind, I want to be more open, my eyes were open wider. I was looking around me. I was being more present to my environment, and I was looking for opportunities to be more kind. That's the key. And this older lady, and she was walking by, and she wasn't going to stop and say hi, but I stopped her and I was like, "Hey, do you want to sit with me?" I was just like, "Hi, how are you?" And she was like, "Hi." And I think just like really taken aback by the fact that like I stopped and talked to her. But like I said, like she looked like she felt lonely. She looked like someone I could be kind to. And she sat down. I invited her to sit down with me. I shared my chocolate bar with her, and we had such a nice conversation. It was like 20 minutes. It was so little, and it was, it was like free. It's like not anything that you have to pay for. And it left me feeling so much better. And that wouldn't have happened if I had not really centered myself that morning and thought about how can I be more in alignment with my values today. So, anyhow, when you know what your values are and you know what's important to you, and you have a sense for who you want to be and what qualities make you your highest self, you can start living a more intentional life. More opportunities are going to open up for you. More opportunities are just going to like present themselves to you, and you're going to feel better. That's like as simple as I can put it. So, if you want to feel better, come to my workshop. Let's figure out what your core values are so that you can put them into action so they become virtues for 2020. That's it from me today. I hope this episode was helpful. If it was, I would love, if you feel called to, for you to leave a rating and a review. So you can just scroll down on the Apple iTunes app and leave a rating there. That's how this show gets out there. If you could also share it with a friend or a sister or a cousin, someone else in your life who is committed to the journey of self-growth and who want to be better. There are a lot of us out there, and you'd be surprised who actually wants it. Like they want to be better, but they just don't know how to verbalize it, and they don't know like where to go. And if that's someone that you know, share this show with them, share this episode with them, come to the workshop together to do the core values. I promise you it's going to be a good time. And knowing your core values, having them outlined is going to really propel your future. So anyhow, I'll see you guys on Friday for the workshop, and I'll see you again here next week, same time, same place. I hope you have an amazing week. Don't forget to be your highest self, and I love ya.